This is Vlad with another episode of Vital Doc Talk, and we're taking care of the doctors that take care of their patients here, right? This is your time to shine. And today, our guest is Dr. Ilya. He's a great doctor, has a lot of awesome tips, is frank, which I love about it. So why don't you give us a quick background?
Okay. With I'm going to just share with you a little bit about not just why I got started as a healthcare provider, but what drove me to kind of persevere and be, not just tenacious, but kind of like maybe overly tenacious. So
Mm.
my father is a psychiatrist, and when I told my father I was going to go to chiropractic school to become a chiropractor, he asked me if that was something I could earn a living at doing. So, he said, can you actually make money doing that? Those were his exact words. Can you
Hmm.
actually make money doing that? So I said, yeah, Dad, actually, some chiropractors do really well. They make even more money than you do.
That's
He
awesome.
said, okay, well, that's good then. That's what he said. So to his credit, he actually paid for my chiropractic school education, but I can remember there was a lot of conflict in our conversations. We'd be sitting down to eat, and my brother, who's a marriage and family therapist, would really connect with my dad, and they'd have a great time talking about psychology. I also perform emotional therapies, so I said, hey, say, Dad, have you ever heard of the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins? He's the well-known psychiatrist that studied muscle testing, and he talks about it in his book and how you can use it to raise a person's level of consciousness. He actually developed an entire map of human consciousness. It's amazing. And
Yeah.
he just said, well, that really is a very interesting theory. I said, theory? What theory, Dad? I mean, this guy, had diplomates. He studied muscle testing for 20 years, and he had diplomates of the International College of Applied Kinesiology right there in front of him, performing the muscle tests and learning really deep and vital things about human consciousness. He wrote 10 books about it and travels all over the country and lectures about it. I don't get it. How is that a theory? So he says, well, I don't believe in all that, but it is a very interesting theory. What don't you believe in, Dad? You don't believe in that he wrote the books that he wrote that you never heard of and hadn't read before? You don't believe that he developed an entire map of human consciousness? You don't believe in the muscle testing? What don't you believe? What's the theory? And so he says, he goes, well, I'd really rather not talk about it. I'm really not interested in all that, but I'm glad it's something that interests you. I said, well, I thought, yeah, it's like, okay, well, I thought you'd be interested, Dad, because he's a well-known psychiatrist like yourself. Well, I'm not interested. I'm closed to this subject, and that's my final word. Okay, so I go, okay, well, seeing as I wasn't getting very far with this topic, I moved on to the next one. So, Dad, what about Bruce Lipton, the molecular biologist who figured out that we can actually change our genes? He taught at a medical institution for like 10 years. Have you heard of Bruce Lipton, Dad? He goes, no, son, I haven't. Okay, well, yeah, it's Bruce Lipton. He taught, like I said, he taught medical students molecular biology at a medical institution for more than 10 years. He's the guy who developed epigenetics. It's a big deal. He figured out that we can change the expression of our genes by changing our thoughts and feelings, beliefs and attitudes and environmental stimuli. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So he goes, oh, well, that really is a very interesting theory. Like, what? What theory, Dad? This guy's a highly regarded medical school instructor who has, taught in a medical institution for 10 years. It's epigenetics. It's not just some theory. It's the cutting edge thing. Everyone's talking about it. It's not just a theory. How the genes express themselves can be altered, and it's been researched over and over. He goes, well, that really is a very interesting theory. Like, what the, So then I said, okay, well, Dad, and then there's this other time I showed him all these amazing, these success stories of my patients, amazing testimonials about how I saved their lives and helped them recover. And
Wow.
he goes, exactly. Well, it's just a matter of time before lots of people will be coming in to see you. So I said, well, you're not feeling very well these days, Dad. Maybe I can help you. And he says, well, thank you for telling me that, son. I'll have to look into that. So I never was able to help him. He ended up dying. And
Wow.
but I've dedicated my life to helping people with their health. And, anyone who's watching this, obviously we're open to helping other people with their health in any way that we can. Because I know that what I do isn't theory, right? It saves people's lives. So
That's why you do what you do. That was a powerful story. I think that's the first time someone's done that, and that's a powerful one. And then so you're actually not like just a chiropractor, right? Because you do emotional therapy, you've got your Triad model.
exactly.
And so a lot of doctors that I talk to, whether it's dermatologists or dentists, et cetera, they mostly they focus in on one thing. What was it that drove you to actually not say, okay, I'm not going to just do one thing. I'm going to basically figure out this holistic approach and see how different variables affect somebody. And do you recommend that to some of the doctors listening? What are like the pros and cons? Because I think, there's pros and cons to everything,
Yeah, good question. So I really don't want to give you a long answer. So, again, I'd suggest you interrupt me if I keep going, but
yeah.
I wasn't feeling too well at all. I'd worked for this environmental and health company called Equinox International Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
They became the fastest growing company in the United States right around when was it? 1998. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
1997, 1998. And I was working with them, but I wasn't making any money. And a lot of the people who were working with that company weren't making so much money.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned a whole lot about environmental and health products. And I was working like 75 or 80 hours a week. I was working like weekends. I was working all week long, kind of like a typical American crazy young person thing, male especially. So I just got really burnt out, and I was starting to have like back pain and different difficulties. And again, this is a long story, so let me try to get through it. I had some acne when I was a kid. It was really bad. I had like, instead of 2 eyes, I had maybe 3-4 eyes or something like that, because I was having cystic acne on my face. So it was hard to get a date. I mean, my skin's doing great now. And then I use this stuff called, you've heard of it, Stridex pads and benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acid. And I finally used Cleocin tea, and I use this other antibiotic that they sell. I mean, I was just doing whatever I could, I was like kind of desperate. And then I ended up using this stuff called Accutane, and sure enough, it worked, but it had these warnings on the label that it could cause, flushing of the skin and might cause you to see floaters in your eyes. And it was really toxic for a person's liver. Yeah, exactly. So it turns out that it even said on the label, if you're a woman, you can't use this product unless you first get a pregnancy test, because it would cause birth defects in yet to be born children. So like, I didn't even know what a liver was at the time. We didn't study all the basic anatomy and things in high school. I just studied another kind of biology. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't know. I'll just take it. So I took it, and it worked. And sure enough, my acne went away. But then I did see the floaters in my eyes. My skin started peeling. I wasn't supposed to get into direct sunlight. And then later I started, getting really angry all the time. And I tore this muscle in the gym. The one that the men use when they're using the bench press, the pectoralis major sternal division. And I had to get it surgically repaired. And then a couple of years later, I tore the exact same muscle on the other side of the body.
Wow.
And I found out that those muscles are related to organs and glands. And those muscles and organs and glands are related to emotions. And emotions, muscles, organs, and glands are related to nutrients. But this was, at the time, I didn't know it. So it was like completely, new to me. Sorry about the noise there. So this is a well-known aspect of professional applied kinesiology, which even dates back to the ancient Ebers papers of Egypt. I mean, there's like ancient documents showing these relationships between muscles, organs, glands, emotions, nutrients, and whatnot. So to make a long story even longer, I I was just not in a good shape. You know, I tore one muscle. I had to have it surgically repaired. I tore another muscle. I'd already decided to go to chiropractic school. And then like I needed some help. So at the time I was in Whittier in Southern California, and I was just feeling like crap. I mean, I was like having trouble with my classes. I was having foggy thinking. I had irritable bowel syndrome. I was like going to the bathroom number 2 about 6 times
Wow,
a day.
I'm hearing all these different horrible things that are happening to you. God, that's a lot. Those are a lot of issues. Okay.
It was not cool. Yeah, I was like, you know, as a male, I was also getting depressed and never told anyone about it. Later, like years later, I told people because I didn't care because I'm not depressed now. But at the time, it was like terrible. You know, I couldn't even get my mood to be stable. And then I was getting chiropractic treatments about, you know, once every week, maybe week and a half. And I was getting acupuncture treatments like 5 or 6 times a week, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. And I was in chiropractic school and I was studying acupuncture at the same time. And I wasn't getting any better. I mean, it was so bad. This one time I like threw like a ball just to throw, you know, just in between classes. And the other guy caught it. And I remember like, I just gave a simple throw. It wasn't a big deal. I was like, oh man, that hurts. I'm like, even that's hurting me. Like I can't even throw a ball without like having a problem. Yeah, it sucked. So then I ended up finding this guy who could help me because I was getting the acupuncture, the herbs, I was taking nutritional supplements, I was getting the chiropractic adjustments. I was doing all that. You know, it's not like I wasn't getting help. So I found this guy, he still practices in Temecula, California. His name is Bruce Shin. And I drove like an hour and 45 minutes from Whittier, California to Temecula, California, just to see this guy and pay him. I paid him like about $180, you know? And I'll tell you what, I would have paid him like 10 or 20 times that amount of money because in just one treatment with the structural, chemical, and emotional therapies using the Triad of Health. He's a diplomate of the International College of Applied Kinesiology. I had more relief in that one visit than I had in like 4 months of acupuncture treatments and chiropractic care. I mean, it totally changed my life.
It's like a movie. I love it. You know, it's like, you know, you're going through all these challenges and then you find your guru. I love that. So, and this guy's helped you and tell us more. So then he just started turning things around.
So yeah, what happened was instead of taking a fistful of pills to wake up in the morning and a fistful of pills to function throughout the day and another group of pills to sleep at night, I just needed like 1 or 2 things. And then my mood stabilized, my energy improved. Again, I wasn't perfect, but I mean, it completely changed everything around. And then I decided to study those therapies that he used, obviously. So he did the emotional therapies and he did the nutrition and herbs and a little bit of homeopathy, and he did the chemical therapies and he did the chiropractic care, you know, which is, you know, I'm a licensed chiropractor. So most, you know, if you're a healthcare provider listening, the good thing about what I do is I don't get bored. I'm like never bored. Like, you know, I mean, if you do traditional chiropractic care, which is great, and you make really good money, if you get the marketing down and you have the patients coming in, it's called the overcoming the patient problem, you know, the new patient problem, not the patient problem, the new patient problem. You know, if you're good with people, you have a good bedside manner, you have people coming in, you have people going out, you bill them or you get them to pay, you know, you're going to make, you know, quite good money, but you're going to get burnt out, man. You're not going to be like happy and excited about what you're doing after just, I don't know, it might only take you 5 or 7 years or less. Mm-hmm. So I chose this complex, functional medicine kind of healthcare because I didn't want to get burnt out and, you know, unhappy with my career choice. And, you know, I didn't want to have all that happen to me. So now I'm doing things that there's like very few people on the planet who do the kind of therapies that I do. I mean, there's a few. I have colleagues, but it's very specialized, you know. People come to see me from different parts of the country even, or locally, and I just had this person come in, I'm definitely not giving their name out, or even forget their sex even, just a human came in yesterday, and they spent $1,630 for one treatment, okay? One treatment. They're not a rock star or anything, and I've had them come in too. So, and I keep most of that money. I keep a little over $1,000 from that one treatment. Actually, $1,050. I was calculating.
That's a great margin. So what are the pros and cons? So just take
there's a lot of cons. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Why don't we go over them? What are the pros and cons of specializing versus not specializing as a doctor? You know, I'm pretending not that I am, but I'm pretending that I'm a doctor on the other side, thinking, that's great, Dr. Ilya. You're able to cure a lot of people with your amazing system. But, what about me? Do you think if I'm a dentist, should I start looking to do ortho work, et cetera? Or do you think I should stay in my lane? What's your thought process there? What have you experienced?
Well, I mean, just for building a life or building a practice? I mean,
A
which
practice, right? So, yeah, a practice.
building a practice, my model sucks. You wouldn't want to do it. You'd want to just focus on having, if you're, what did you say, a dentist?
Yeah, dentist, yeah.
Yeah, for a dentist, they want to focus on the marketing. They do want to develop skills, though. And as a dentist, you'd want to do what the other dentists are not doing, which is become a holistic doctor, that dentist.
Mm-hmm.
Know that there's a drawback to inserting the metal fillings into people's mouths. Not that you do that anyway, even if you're not holistic, but you want to use the ozone therapies for your patients to get rid of the bacteria and things in their teeth. And you want to do things that people want. People are a lot more holistic now, especially in New York and California and Florida. There's some other states, in the Midwest maybe. Huh?
Washington over here as well, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, the whole West Coast and most of the East Coast. I mean, yeah, maybe if you're in the Midwest, nobody cares as much, but you should start caring. I mean, because people in the Midwest are starting to what they call wake up, and if you're not going to help them on a high level, then, you may not feel good and happy about what you're doing. Over years, maybe at first your practice will do really well if you have really good marketing, you have your systems in place, you have your staff well-trained, and get reviews. You got to focus on your reviews. You got to focus on your online reputation. You got to focus on your brick and mortar appearance. Those things are different than what I'm talking about. You don't have to go too crazy as a dentist, but yeah, I mean, it just depends. You still want to be able to talk people's language, whatever language your population is going to respond to. What does your demographic want? Mm-hmm. Right? You have to do the market research.
And I've been asked by another doctor this very same question, in terms of your demographic. How did you find your demographic, Dr. Ilya? Do you have a specific type of patient you like to work with, and how did you find them? Was it experimentation? Was it market research? All the above? I'd love to know.
I was lucky and not lucky. First of all, I was lucky because I had a background in marketing. I worked for that environmental and health company, and I got burnt out. That was mainly marketing. Mm-hmm. So I knew that there was the power of marketing, Mm-hmm. But I wasn't lucky because I got sick, and I was having hot flashes and night sweats and chronic fatigue and all this kind of crazy stuff. And I got better. And then I found out that the things that I was dealing with were actually hormone imbalances that were most closely related to menopausal symptoms. And then when I got better from those hormone imbalances. So both men and women have male and female hormones. Just men have more male hormones, women have more female hormones. But anyway, so sorry. So your question is what did I do differently, or what?
Yeah, the original question that I asked first I asked, the pros and cons. What are the pros and cons versus specializing and not specializing? Then the other question I asked is, how did you find your niche? Was it in your demographic?
I was my niche. Yeah, that's what happened was I didn't know it at the time, but I was like the typical woman with hormonal imbalances, even though I'm a male, right? Mm-hmm. So when I got healthy myself, and then I noticed a bunch of my patients were these women with hormonal imbalances. They had thyroid conditions, they had hypothyroidism, and they were taking thyroid medications. And sometimes I could get them off their thyroid medications. I mean, half the time, even in the very beginning, after just 3, 4, 5, 6, or 8 visits, So I love that. Thought, yeah, I liked it too. They thought they were going to. Thank you for saying that. They thought they were going to be on their medication for the rest of their lives, And then here, 3 visits or 8 visits later, they don't need their medication. Whether they want to continue to use my services or not, I got them to do video testimonials for me. If you're watching this and you're any healthcare provider of any sort, it doesn't matter which type, medical doctor, surgeon, whatever, you get those video testimonials from your patients legally. You get them to sign a release form or whatever, use those and pay extra, I paid a video guy to come in. I had several professional video people come in and do those video testimonials. And sometimes
that's a great, let's pause for 1 second there. That's great. So the first thing is, I was saying, I love that you solved your own problem. I think the best salespeople don't sell, right? Because they believe in their own solution so much. It's not, they don't have to convince anybody because they're convinced already, you know? So it's really just passionate education, which it seems like is your model. You're really passionate because you went through it yourself, right? So you just want to educate as many people about this, you know, awesome service, et cetera, as or product as possible. Then the
Yeah.
second thing, now you're going into video, which is really interesting because I haven't actually talked about this on the podcast yet. Video testimonials. I'd love to learn about that process, how you utilized it, and the results you saw. So you said you hired a videographer. How much would that cost the doctors that are watching?
Well, we talked about this on the phone also a little bit, but I was doing some trades. So luckily this guy was coming in and getting treated, and I just got lucky. So I did a trade with him at first, and then later I had a guy and I just paid him like $2,500 or something to do, you know, 6 or 8 videos. And I think that's actually, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's kind of inexpensive compared to what other people charge, because he came all the way over from his, he's in Reno, okay? So he came from Reno in Nevada. It's like a couple hours over to my practice in San Rafael, and he did that twice. I paid him twice, like $2,600 once, and then about $2,000 or something another time. And think about it, he's driving all the way over there, he's doing all the videos, it takes him like 6 or 8 hours, and then he drives all the way back, he edits them, I mean, you know, that's a lot. So
that's great.
Now, was it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it because it kind of helps with the energy of your practice. It's not so much that, you know, all the videos make or break your practice. You could have a successful practice without doing any, but why not why not cheat on the test? You know, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you know what you do, you know about the successes you've had, other people know about the successes you've had, other people can share those successes. I mean, do it all, you know, and get it out into the public. Some people will see my videos and they'll get excited, and other people are just like, oh yeah, maybe he hired actors. I mean, whatever, I don't care. I just keep going, you know?
I love that, because I was talking to one of my clients, and he's, he's basically a CPR company, et cetera. And I was telling him, I said, you need to get every single, it's a competitive market, right? You need to get every single competitive advantage you can, right? And as you talked about, cheat on the test, right? The videos are just another way you can get an edge on that test. And everybody, you know, to go keep, you know, run crazy with your analogy here, you know, every doctor out there who's selling a similar service to another, your clients or potential clients are testing you. And the more advantage you can have on that test that they're testing you on, the faster you'll get your clients and, you know, build your business. So what tips would you have for doctors that are interested in doing this video method and getting their clients to do video reviews? I've heard for like psychologists, it's very hard, right? Because they can't go into issues and HIPAA and all that, right? Yeah. But obviously for dentists, et cetera, there's easier fields out there. So psychologists, psychiatrists, we apologize. But let's get into videos for a second here. Do you have a script for them? Do you just say, hey, that was a great compliment? You know, can you say that on camera? How'd that work out? Was it just natural?
Okay. It was kind of natural. Yeah. What happened was I worked with that environmental and health company, and they were like hardcore into video. They would get people to buy their videos who didn't want to buy them. The guy who owned the company was like a marketing genius. This was way back, remember, basically in the mid 80s, right? In the late 80s. So I knew that, you know, I had to get these video testimonials. So from day one, I was asking like every person, yeah, we should do a little video testimonial. We can share that with the people in the community. The words, if you want to use a script, the script that might work would be, you know, how are you feeling? Oh, I'm doing, this is good, my headaches are gone, my digestion's good. Man, we need to get this information out there into the world. We need to share this information with people so we can help other people in the community. So definitely let's have you do the review, and we'll do a video too. Here, let me go get my phone. You just do it right then and there. You just stick the phone on the iPad, or I'm sorry, on the tripod, right? And then you start doing the video. And then you got to coach them, you know, your name, age, where you're from. And sometimes that doesn't matter, but it's nice for people to identify with that person. Like if that person's an artist, have them say they're an artist. If they're a doctor, have them say they're a doctor. If they are doing catering, that's whatever the person does. And then, you know, you have your video. And it's a do it thing. It's like a, like with anything else, it's like you learn about it by doing it. You can't just think about it or study it in a book. You have to apply things. You have to actually take action here. Action is the key to success in any area of life, right?
100%. I think you're 100% right. Action is, you learn a lot through action. And then, I try to balance it a little, but at the end of the day, experience is going to give you the best tips. So, whoever's listening to this, hopefully you're answering, some social media questions right now or blogging or something while you're listening to this, taking action. And to keep up on that theme of action, right? Let's talk about coronavirus, right? Where when you're a doctor out there, you're taking these actions in the market today and things are going great. And now a lot of doctors that I've talked to, I talked to one on our Connecting Doctors group that we have on LinkedIn. He, had like 6 practices and lost like 30% of his patients.
Definitely.
Or something.
Yeah.
He got really hit hard. And a lot of doctors got really, really hit hard. So what would your tips be there? How are you surviving through this time and the corona?
Well, for the larger practices, I'm kind of repeating what you said. People are really feeling the pain,
Mm-hmm.
And so for the smaller practices, I think people are getting really confused about the coronavirus, and I'm not going to unconfuse anyone. Believe me, you'll just stay that way. But what I can say is that this is not a curse. It's more of like a blessing. I don't know what's going to happen in the political arena, and let's not talk about that at all. But
Sure.
In terms of, a healthcare provider, almost any healthcare provider, I refer out to a lot of optometrists. This is a big clue. Okay. I referred out to this one optometrist, and my patient called them and tried to schedule an appointment, but they're required to be closed. Right? So no business for that optometrist. And then I referred out to several others. One of them didn't get back to the patient right away, but then they did. They went in, they opened up, they did the exam, they charged the fee, and then that's it. And they're required to be closed too. It's the same basic area. And I'm not saying who they are. I'm not saying what city that this person's in. Okay. I'm just saying. So like with my practice, I'm an essential healthcare provider, but all the chiropractors in my general area I'm in San Rafael, California. Some of them are closed and some of them are open. I'm open. I've been open since the beginning, and I'll be open till the end, and I'm open, and I see people both in person, in the office. Some patients, this is another big clue. With some patients, I have on my mask, and right, I have on my mask, and then with other patients, and I have on my gloves, right? Look at me, boy, oh boy. Do I look happy? So I have on my mask, and then with other people, I have on my gloves. Most people, I don't wear a mask or gloves, right? Why would I do that? What am I a moron? I know that viruses spread in a certain way, and you can get a virus through contact, but also you can get the antigen and the antibody that way, right? As soon as you get the antigen that way, you make antibodies to the virus. Yeah. So
yeah. I'm sure a lot of doctors, it's a, never-ending debate about, the virus, how fast it's going to spread, how to prevent the spread, etc. So what would your advice be to the doctors who are not essential? I was, let's go back to my CPR client, for example. He was told that he has to shut down his CPR company, and versus he does see competitors open right now, right? So this is all up for debate. I've never seen anybody arrested for being open. I don't know, right? And I don't know what the laws are or whatever. So we're not going to give advice there.
It's better. He's got an opportunity now. He's never had this opportunity before. He can legally do Zoom meetings for everyone and teach them how to do CPR. And he can wear a mask, and he can have a model wear a mask, or he can just use a mannequin, and he can charge a fee. And he can market the heck out of it on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. He's never had this opportunity before. Everybody is on the internet. This guy has an opportunity that he's never had before. Is he going to have to bust his ass to learn how to do Facebook marketing? How to get people to look at his Facebook? How to do the how to make it effective? Yeah.
Legally, that can be an opportunity, right? Legally, though, I'm not a lawyer, right?
Yeah, right.
Or a doctor. I'm not anybody. But we're there are people that get CPR certifications, and so I don't know if he'd be allowed to give
Oh,
this training
well,
with
he'll have to
CPR
research
training.
that. Yeah, he has to
Yeah,
find
yeah.
out about that.
But to take it back, right, to focus on the growth path, how have you grown at home, right? Like what at home activities have you done?
But what I'm saying is, sorry, he could teach
No,
other people how to teach CPR. I mean, there's things he can
sure.
do. You know, he doesn't have to keep doing the same thing. He needs to do the thing everyone's talking about, that fancy, you know, quote, pivot, unquote word, right? He needs to change what he's doing. You know, he needs to pivot.
Yeah, and that's true, right? So we can delve into that point more, right? Yeah. So doctors out there who aren't essential and are shut down right now, right, and are following the law, whatever the letter is, I would say you should definitely think of other things you can do. Whether it's personally for me, I would say think of the top 10 questions that your clients would ask you, that your patients would ask you. What are the top 10 questions? And then you create a blog post, one blog post on each question. Then what do? You create an intro, you create an end, you put all those together. Now you use this time to write an ebook, right? So that's one
Nice,
easy
Vlad.
thing
See?
you can do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's actually what I did a while back. So that's the tip I can give. Are you on social media? Are you doing
Yeah, I'm
anything
all
in
over
terms of
social
marketing?
media with the, yeah, I have Triad
Great.
of Health on Instagram and Triad of Health Family Healing Center. You guys can follow me on YouTube and
I
Facebook.
love that. So
Triad of
what would
Health
your
Family.
tips be? Have you grown online social media accounts? Are there any online marketing channels you like? Because I know a lot of doctors out there that are stuck at home. They want to learn about this stuff and see what they should take a
Well,
stab at.
I mainly was using Facebook. I heard most people have better results with Instagram. I don't know how to do it. I actually hire a Facebook marketing guy, and I pay him just a few $100s a month. And right now, I don't even have anyone hired. I'm just collecting names and emails because that's money, right? Names and emails is money. So I collect the names and emails, and then I send them out information about what I do, and then they can become patients when they're ready. Because I have all those videos, right? I can send them the videos. I can send them a solution to their health concerns, and some of them will like it and some of them won't. Yeah. So I'm not, yeah. So
And how do you get the names and emails through your Facebook campaign?
yeah. Yeah, and it's working right now because, like I said, everybody's on the internet right now. They might go off the internet in a week or two when they get rid of the lockdown, but right now they are on the internet, and they
That's
might have to
awesome.
stay on the internet because they're out of work. Right?
Yeah.
We got 20% literally of businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, have closed down. Maybe the smaller ones more so.
That's a great also point to my one of my previous interviews I did with this guy named Andre who runs MedRocket and he loves Facebook. Shout out to him. And he talks about how costs online especially online ads are down about 25% across the board.
There you go.
So right now you guys can take a look at online ads and then take a look at maybe some of the services you were thinking of offering or the out of the box solutions, whether it's your ebook you want to advertise, etc., and take a stab at that. Sorry, you're gonna.
No, yeah, well, I was just thinking Google AdWords was supposed to offer people free AdWords who already had an AdWords account, but I'm not quite sure how that works. They said that you can start advertising and they won't charge anything, but I'm not going to try it. Like, I think they might charge me. I mean, I don't know if it's real, but they announced that.
So Dr. Ilya, how would you classify yourself, right? Are you like a holistic doctor because you offer chiropractic and then hormonal and all that stuff?
Yeah, functional medicine doctor. So I do the structural, chemical, and emotional therapies. So you'd call me a chiropractic kinesiologist or a functional medicine doctor. Some people use the word. Go ahead.
No, and how has your practice been impacted by COVID? Have you seen a reduction in patients?
Well, I don't mind to have like a vague answer, but I had a reduction in patients, but my income increased quite a bit, like 25%.
Love it.
Because it's like the patients who really need me, they're definitely coming in. They're like, oh man, I got to stay healthy. And some of them that need me, they're just too scared to come in, but they'll be coming in again, right when the lockdown, the quarantine is lifted. So I guess that's probably because of COVID that I have the increase, but I don't really know what's going on. I know that my advertising, I'm ready to do things that I've never been able to do with the advertising before. I mean, they've lowered the fees, the reach is higher. Think of this as a time, if you're a healthcare provider, any person, it's a time to expand. It's not a time to contract, you know. You interviewed another fellow who said the same thing. That's real, you know.
A lot of the doctors who are, very seasoned veterans, and you've obviously been in the game for a while. They talk about how now, while everybody's contracting, it's the cheapest time to expand, etc.
Oh my
So
God.
I love that. And so,
I've never gotten names and numbers like I'm getting now. I mean, I'm not bragging, but I'm spending like less than like $13 a day. I got like 6 or 7 names and numbers, or names and emails last one day. You know, like how the hell? Even if they're terrible, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's getting the word out. They can share my messages with other people. All at the bottom of each of my emails, it says, you know, share this with people you know on LinkedIn, and then it has the links for LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and you know, the whole 9 yards, right? So if they share it, then yeah, it's, even if they don't get started, you know, with care.
I love that. You know, it's like psychologically, everyone's scared right now, and that's why they're more willing to speak to one another. I think it's more therapeutic. So that's just more, I guess, more reason for everybody listening out there to go and start reaching out to the public online and start to build your database. And for, last question, I would say, what is your one takeaway, or what is one maybe key step you'd want a doctor out there who wants to continue growing their practice to take?
I think people should really invest in themselves. This is like a big thing for me and anyone else who's done well, maybe even more so for other people. You know, you invest in your education. If you need to do marketing, don't screw around. Let me show you. Invest, invest more than you want to. I mean, you got to read, you got to study, you got to read, you got to know your craft. And I'm as a licensed chiropractor in the state of California, I don't have people just coming and knocking on my door just because they're walking by too often. I mean, in the last 6 or 7 years, that's happened like one time, right? 1 or 2 times. I'm not even I don't have a retail storefront kind of area. So you got to get people to find out about you. And the way that you do that is you make sure that your product or service that you offer is high end, it's the best. And then make sure you charge a good fee, right? And then you got to make sure that people can find out about you. You got to invest in your, what they call platform, meaning your marketing or your education. You got to do that. It's really important. It's more important than like buying a new machine or whatever. I mean, yeah, so.
That's a great tip. So everybody out there, you should definitely invest in your education. I definitely agree there. I think that if you don't have a basic level.
Sorry, interrupted you, but the E-Myth. People should read that book, the E-Myth, My bad for interrupting you.
No worries. E-Myth by Michael Gerber. I think that's the author. Great book. I agree. Investing in education is very key out there. And so I definitely agree with you there. And I think if you don't have a basic level of knowledge on how to do something, it's very hard not to get ripped off and succeed. You're I guess he gave you another clue on the test, so to speak, of how to get ahead. So you got to study. But thank you guys so much, Dr. Ilya. Where can people find you?
Just find me at my website, triadofhealth.net, triadofhealth.net. Or, I have my own name. My first name, Ilya Skolnikoff, is also a website. And then just go to Facebook and search for Triad of Health Family Healing Center. So it's Family Healing Center.
Awesome.
Good way to find me.
Well, thank you so much for giving us your time. And this is Vlad with another episode of Vital Doc Talk.
Thanks, Vlad.
Great day, guys.
Great.